In the beginning, it was a lot of, I went through a period of withdrawal almost. I felt that I was isolating myself from my friends and my family and all of my educational commitments.
We'd go out and I'd be incredibly nervous or agitated, or I'd worry about little things that I guess in hindsight didn't make sense.
I used to hate school, a lot of pressure, to fit in. I used to go home and stress about it all the time. I wouldn't sleep very well. I'd go to school dreading, again, catastrophizing. It's going to be a horrendous day. Most times it was, but not because of any specific example. It's because I created that in my mind myself.
School was particularly hard because there was the assumption that I was just being attention seeking. So I lost friends. It was difficult to make friends anyway because I was so down on myself. I hated me, so why would anyone else like me or want to get to know me?
Even something as just waking up in the morning and getting out of bed and just those daily routines became such an immense chore. And then that escalated to having problems with concentration and focus, and that in turn having an effect on my studies. So I can distinctly remember when I was sitting for my prelims, my prelim HSC exams, I had a panic attack. My body went through a period of great shock. I was shaking uncontrollably.
I was always on edge or really agitated and restless and irritable. And as a result of that, I was very angry as well. So there was times where I really couldn't control my emotions, and like it would just sometimes simple things from families or friends, like simple gestures or inadvertent statements and stuff, I would respond by being like passive aggressive or very defensive, when that kind of response wasn't very warranted.
I remember putting a lot of pressure on myself in terms of my performance in like football games, and I remember throwing up before games and just putting so much pressure on myself and feeling so much anxiety.
The weight of expectation, which was my expectation, wasn't anyone else's, it was all put on by me. It was like an anchor, running around with an anchor behind you. And like, I'm sure if you had player cam on me, I'd be walking around dragging my feet, my head would be down, just trying to avoid the world, basically. That's what I did. I tried to avoid any contact with anything.
Made me think that I was a burden to my friends, my family, to my school.
So anxiety definitely made me think like an energizer, battery type of like the rabbit, where they're kind of just non-stop thinking constantly. A lot of ruminating and a lot of dwelling on like repetitive negative cycles. And
made me think some pretty bad things. What is the point of living? Why are we all here? I've been a reasonably deep thinker anyway, but when I was in my bad moods, the deep thinking turned negative, and it was all about bad things.
It made me think that I was different and unusual and weird compared to everybody else.
It just made me think a lot, and it made me overthink.
The depression made me think that I was completely worthless. There was absolutely no hope for me. There was no point in me being alive.
It really made me feel confused and like I was a little bit like I wasn't myself.
It made me feel quite ashamed.
it made me feel worthless.
Pretty helpless, very confused. And nervous is another one as well. I was just nervous constantly, is how I'd put it. Whereas people would be nervous before big events that are coming up, I was nervous every day for anything.
Probably one word is probably that you feel lost. You just feel like you don't know how you've got to this point.